Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning from wherever you're joining us from in the world today. My name is Sarah and I'm the Program and Event Manager at the Reactor in Sydney, Australia. Welcome to a Microsoft Reactor Sydney live stream event. Today I'm excited to introduce for a debut session with us at the Reactor, Lipi Sarkar and Srikumar Nair. So we will be discussing today measuring digital transformation with business adoption using Microsoft Dynamics 365. But firstly, a bit of background on your speakers. So I believe Lipi is joining us today from the UK or somewhere else in that region, which I'm sure she'll expand on in a bit as well. So Lipi is the Digital Transformation Director at CloudSource, co-author of Building a Digital Future, which we'll share with you guys a link to her book later on as well, and researcher in DBA program. She is an experienced program director with 20 years of experience in leading and managing technology-led digital transformation programs with Microsoft Dynamics 365. And we also have here today Srikumar, who is, I believe, in somewhere in the States in Pacific time as well. So thank you for joining us later in the evening. He is a principal group product manager with Microsoft, with the Dataverse team, and author of the book Digital Transformation and Dataverse for Teams, which we'll also share with you the link for as well. We'll be speaking today for about an hour, so about 40 minutes actually, with 10 to 15 minutes for questions. However, do ask as many questions as you like in the comment section, and we will try and answer them throughout and towards the end as well. And at the conclusion, we'll share with you a link to our feedback survey with the event code joint with that one, and also a link to our YouTube channel. So if there's anything that you've missed from today, you'll be able to watch the on-demand version straight back after today's session. But for now, I'd like to hand the floor over to Lipi and Shrik to begin. So thank you so much, and over to you.
Thank you, Sarah. That was a fabulous introduction, and it's very early in the morning here. So if I get a little bit tongue twisted, so don't mind, Australian friends. So here we go. So we have got quite a lot to cover today. And I'll start with giving you an agenda in terms of what we are going to cover. So the talk is about the digital transformation, and it's very much embedded about the business adoption. So we'll start with why digital transformation, what is digital transformation, and why now? Then we will like to understand a bit about our organization, that is with the 5 cornerstones of digital transformation. Then we'll deep dive into planning and readiness, and we'll talk about technology platform. I'm delighted to have Srikumar Nair with me, and we'll talk about from the Power Platform as well as the Dynamics 365 point of view. And finally, measuring adoption, how we are doing, how the businesses are doing, what kind of measurements, what are the key KPI indicators that we have, and how we are measuring it. So hopefully that is quite a lot to unpack in a 40-minute session. And we would like to make this session quite interactive, and it will be delightful if you can share your experience and thoughts through the comment chat. So here we go. So let's start with digital transformation. And when we talk about digital transformation, depending on where you are in the organization, you might have a different view of where you would like to be. So what we call about digital transformation is integrating the digital technologies into your business ways of working, operating model, to increase the business efficiencies, and whether it is efficiency within the internal organization or with customer focus or with the growth in the market. So it's all about how you embed and integrate the digital technologies into your ways of working. And then also about providing the services to existing customer, either using different channels or new business models. And then about how you're enriching your customer experience. Are you engaged? Do you have a 360-degree view of your customer? Are you having a personalized engagement? Or when you're talking to your customer, do you give that kind of enriching experience to your customer and a personalized view? And then also about targeting the emerging markets with new growth strategy. So this is all about digital transformation, but there might be different ways of you want to bring that in. What is your vision of the organization that need to be on top of that? And recently, the last 2 years, we have been hit by a pandemic, and This is one of the reasons of acceleration of digitalization during this COVID-19 crisis. You have to keep your lights on, business need to going, and you yet to be competitive. And it's in some cases, in some sectors, it's good to be just keeping the lights on and serving the existing customers rather than focusing on new growth channels. So this is a reason why we are thinking about why now. And we have been doing digital transformation. It might be in your vision of the organization, but it has been accelerated. 2 years of digital transformation has been accelerated in 2 months due to the COVID. And then there might be other factors as well, like upgrading your old IT infrastructure into your new one, integrating new forms of technologies, and then, of course, the cloud computing, critical IT infrastructure, which are major pair players, scalable and agile. That is also the IT strategy that you might be having in your organization as some point in time. So if we take this basis as the digital transformation, and then what we would like to understand is understanding your own organization. So now this is where we were thinking if we can comment, if you're live, if we can comment on um, the strategic shift, like if we talk about the 5 cornerstones of digital transformation. So the first one, let's say the strategic shift. Is the digital transformation part of strategic plan? Yes or no for your own organization? Do you know the business benefit that your digital transformation will deliver? Again, comment. So I would like to see some comment in the chat window and see what is your experience. Then let's think about the cultural shift. That is a second cornerstone. Do you know what prevailing culture that you have within your company? Do you, the managers, and I'm not going to read line by line, but what should we stop doing? What should we start doing? So these are the questions you might be thinking from the cultural point of view. And what is the one thing that about the culture you would like to change within your organization? You might pretty much have a good idea about the culture that the organization, but when you deep dive into it, you might find what are the key strengths that your organization might be having, or what are the gaps that your organization might need more, like the skill sets. Obviously, when you start with that, so baseline and map your skill set within the organization. Bring in the talent profiles, bring in the succession plans, the softer skills that are necessary, like decision making and collaboration. How do you take decisions? Is it based on lots of different information that you perceive and you share that knowledge? What are the gaps that you look internally? And setting that expectations right. Then the next one is about process shift. Do you have your current processes documented? In most of the organization, if it's like on organic growth, then we do see that the processes are not well documented. People have come in, new people have joined, and then the processes, the people know about it, but sometimes the people within the organization become a bottleneck because they want to share that information with any new joiners, but the processes might not be documented. Then does the operation runs like a well-oiled machine, or sometimes it is about lots of spreadsheet. Then you take about a lot of time thinking about processing that information to make any informed decision. Think about how many email conversation does it need to complete your business processes. How many Excel spreadsheet do you need to rely on to make any informed decision? Are the processes transparent to the employees of the business unit? And if anybody new joins within your company, how much information, how much induction do you need to do? Then finally, the 5th cornerstone is about the governance and control. If you have the 4 things right, then on top of it, are you open to discuss the sensitive risk at your steerco meeting? And does everyone understand their roles and responsibility within the organization? Is your business strategy aligned with the program or project objectives? Are you kind of aligning it all the time? Because sometimes we will see that how it happens, a program starts and everybody gets very busy with delivering carrying on the task and activities of the program and project, but sometimes it gets misaligned with the vision, overall vision and the mission. Are you in sync with that? Are you measuring it all the time? So understanding your organization is a very integral part of the journey that precedes laying out your transformation roadmap. And just remember that, because all the time, because the digital transformation is not easy. It takes a lot of effort, and within the processes, within the people, within the technology. And sometimes it's important to get back to the basics and aligning the vision and the goals of the organization with your program objectives. Okay, so then let's take about the vision. Before everything else, getting ready really is a secret of success. That was a saying from Henry Ford. And I've come up with some of the vision that the big organization, the known names that you might have heard about. So like Microsoft, to help people and businesses throughout the world realize their full potential. And we have like all the products from the Microsoft. If you take the example of Amazon, the vision is to be Earth's most customer-centric company. Nike, bring inspiration and innovation. IKEA, to create a better everyday life for many people. Then Google, to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. TED, spreading the ideas. Tesla, to accelerate the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Now, with all the vision, you can see that where the organization is going. And when you try to bring in your digital transformation, it should be aligned to the overall vision. So what do you think? Are you ready to start your digital transformation journey within your organization? Do you have a full visibility of your vision? And then whichever program and objectives or the project initiatives you're working on, can you see that directly linked or somehow interlinked? So I don't have any questions. I don't see any comments from you guys, but it will be good to hear from you and see where you are in your journey. Then once you've identified where do you want to go, what is your digital transformation vision, what are the key initiatives you need to think about, these are the 5 elements. Now, process and innovation. You might be having processes. It's very innovative to think about that you might be able to change all the processes in one go. I would think about, take a step back and think about what are the key important processes that you think will be really useful with the digital transformation. And then it is a continuous innovation. Don't try to do too much at one time. Break it down into different phases. Try to realize the quick wins. Try to realize the benefits that you will be delivering into a program. Break it down into different phases, like 6 months, 18 months, and then try to bring that benefit and link it up. So that was from the process and innovation point of view. Engagement is another key factor, measuring the user adoption across all engagements. It's really great to have all these technologies, but people are not using it at maximum, utilizing the benefit, then it's not good. So we have to keep the users engaged all the time, and we should be able to measure that engagement as well. Then we talk about business and culture. And as you have seen, so many questions were related to the culture, like what are we doing? What are the different culture prevailing within your organization? So build your digital roadmap with the business and prioritize by understanding the desire versus the strength of your organization. And it will help, because if everybody understands where we are going and how it is linked to directly for me, your innovation, your digital transformation journey becomes much smoother in that way. Technology is an enabler. So obviously Microsoft has got great products of Dynamics 365, which we will come into a little bit later. So the cloud, flexibility, scalability, agile, so all those factors are embedded within the product. So technology is an enabler, but try to utilize the technology in a way that you can measure those benefits as well. Data and analytics. Now, this is the 5th element. With some organization, and depending on which sector or industry you're working on, you might be having lots of legacy system, and the data might be in such a state, like some very useful data, and some might need a lot of cleansing in that process. So execute those periodic data cleansing, build the matrix, and measure the trends and the KPIs through that. Now, I would say these are the 5 digital transformation elements that you need to think about, but then you might identify some more factors are embedded or interlinked in each area. So think about, it's kind of an onion peel. So think about, take one area and try to dive into more into details, what you need to find. So here I would like to bring in Sri from and understand what type of business challenges you have seen been resolved with the Power Platform. Sri, over to you.
Yeah, great question. Thanks, Lippy, for bringing me in here. A lot of customers have different kind of challenges, right? We I cannot cover the whole breadth of problems that customers have, but right from shop floor automations where they want to build checklists and guides, to situations like air ambulances where there are mission critical checklists that needs to make sure you're not missing out anything, all the way to regular enterprise customer experience problems where you're not able to keep up with the support volume and you're trying to make sure the customer experience gets better. How do you enable the new digitalization of that customer experience? Those are one of those problems. And then you can also look at the sales motion. How can sales people keep stay on top of what are the customer needs? How can I make go and sell the right product to the to the customers at the right moment? These are typical problems that you will always come across with. That's some of the problems that I have been dealing with for some of discussing with some of my customers who come to Power Platform and Dynamics looking for solutions.
Thank you, Shri. So that's a great starter for the problems, the business problems. So we'll talk about that a little bit more into each area. So let's take the technology platform to start with the finance and operation. So when we are thinking about bringing finance and operation, so these are the tangible benefits. So increasing the business value, or you might be helping thinking about cost savings by certain percentages. Then improvements in the credit collection and aged debt by a certain percent again, reducing the manual effort that goes by behind the scenes by X number of hours, early on time, and clearing the outstanding payments within the organization, within different suppliers, third party suppliers, etc. So you have to think about what are the tangible benefits that you are going to resolve using finance and operation. Then, obviously, the intangible benefits, we also think about self-empowered employees. It's all the KPIs are not just the financial target. So some targets are more about how you're empowering your employees to make that quick decision making helpful. Improvement in your business cycle times, or improve security, privacy, and compliance. So if you take this finance and operation, then there are lots of KPIs that you can think about, like quantify the measures and improvements in certain percent. So here you can see, I'm not going to go dive into the finance and operation right now because every organization might be measuring something slightly different. So for this one, so let's think about the edge debt credit overview, and you get all this information, at your fingertips. It's more about getting all this data and try to analyze them. And when you're just reviewing that in a monthly meeting, monthly internal sales or revenue kind of meeting, uh, just gather all this information and see how you have improved. If you're targeting to use a finance and operation within an organization, then think about what you would like to improve and where you are in that journey and how you're going to improve in the next month, next quarter, or the next year. So have those targets, how you are doing now versus what you would like to achieve in future. So this is from the finance and operation point of view. And again, you might think about a lot of different KPIs. That is the problem pain point within your business, within your organization, and try to flash out all this information in part of the KPI. Then, if you take the example of supply chain management, and again, the benefits that you would like to measure, and is about the benefits you would like to deliver using supply chain management, is more about meeting the fast changing customer demands, fast production and distribution planning, enhancing the visibility of supply chain and inventory in real time, because that's how you can move your product much faster. And again, the faster channels. So again, I haven't put something in the intangible benefits, but the self empowering employees is quite a intangible benefits, and see the customer engagement will be really useful here. So, for example, if you think about the supply chain, and again, this is about how you're measuring spending the employees' cost analysis and the cost across, your supply chain, that will also be useful. So these are some examples. And again, I would encourage you to think about what are the other pain points within the supply chain management that you might have. And with the Power BI, with the Dynamics 365, some are inbuilt reports, some are, you can bring that with the Power Platform and the Power BI as well to go into the deep diving into the problems and flesh out all the data that you would like to see from the supply chain management. If we move on to the commerce side of things, then again, increase in growth of direct to customer channels, monitor sales and margin, performance per product, analyze the sales trends and patterns to make the informed decisions. You can deepen the loyalty with existing customers. You can personalize the messages to the customers. And again, there are some more. You can go into the sales trends, the sales patterns. You can think about how the product is performing in each country or each region. So you can have further enhanced view about the KPIs that you can measure on the commerce side of things. If we move into sales and marketing, then increasing the sales pipeline view, marketers to have a fresh, accurate insights to personalize the digital communications and action. You can increase the engagement rate. And again, think about what is your engagement rate right now and what would you like to achieve? And are you going to increase that? It should not be a hard measure. So you might be able to use your organization background and see that how fast you want to be there. So let's target for, say, 5%, 10%, 15%, but increase that each quarter. And improve the predictability about the client needs, entering new markets faster because you can plan for the faster growth and maybe you want to enter the new market. So again, not to measure everything at the same time, but just put that in your agenda, what you would like to measure, how would you like to cover in each quarter. If we go into the customer services, again, there might be different benefits. And again, are you measuring those, like reduced service desk management effort? If you have field engineers, and what is the response rate for resolving any problem? Reduce mean time to resolution, the service reliability, incident management, and you might be having the KPIs, the SLAs, employee to vendor ratio. So all of this information, the benefits are there from the product itself, but how we are measuring and what are we measuring, that is quite key. Okay, so is that a question? Check out. Okay, so that's Sarah has shared a link, so you can have look for all the different kind of indicators that you would like to see. I'm not going into the product right now, but you will be able to see how you would like to measure the different kind of KPIs per product of Dynamics 365. Now, this is to show you what are the key performance indicators we were talking about, financial and non-financial. Now, cost improvement, that could be a very good matrix. The customer engagement, the loyalty with the customers, the rewards that we are offering to the customers, the growth metrics in terms of sales and revenue, and the other bits that sometimes we miss out is about the employees' retention, employees' empowerment. So how we are measuring those. So try to gauge some stats and data about using the legacy system where you are with your current ways of working, and have some numbers ready, have some stats, and see when you are assessing which technology platform you would like to go to. And here in this platform, we are talking about Microsoft Dynamics 365 and Power Platform. But if your organization is not yet ready in terms of where you would like to be, you have not decided upon the technology, I would say start your organization evaluation and assessment with where you are with the legacy system. And there might be some features, you might have some business challenges, and we can't come across a different kind of business challenges depending on the industries, depending on the sectors. For example, some organization might be having too much of manual work going on, filling up lots of maybe forms that is happening in paper forms. And you would like to move from the paper form, reducing the manual effort, and move into a technology where you would like to be able to capture all this information. And you would like to see, whenever you are making some informed decision, you would like to see a view of your customers. You would like to see a view of within your processes. You would like to see where we are in that process, what stage we are in that process. So what I'm trying to say here is bring all this information, bring all these pain points, and have those information to be measurable. So there might be some data available for you. Then try to, and when you have identified after assessing these are the pain points, then assess which technology you would like to go to. Now, if you have selected Dynamics 365, let's say, then out of either way you would like to improve the business efficiency, or whether you would like to increase the customer expectation or customer centric engagement, or whether you would like to go into a different growth market, a different market, different within the same country, increase the sales and profit, sales and revenue, increase your pipeline view. So all this information, try to measure that. With using Dynamics 365, whether the cost reduction is going, you can make certain cost reduction, cost savings within certain quarter. Again, yet to see within the time, you might not be able to measure that within week one after you have really gone live. But keep that as a continuous measurement. When we think about a product, you have to think about a continuous improvement in the features, in the product, but at the same time, you have to continuously measure those kind of benefits, trying to link that up to see where you were within the last quarter or where you were in the last year, and what has happened after you have rolled out Dynamics 365, or let's say using Power Platform as well. So the customer engagement, you might see the customer engagement might be going up. The growth metrics, again, if that is one of the expansion in your vision, and you would like to target that, so measure that as well. See the employees retention, see how they engage customer, how your employees, whether it's citizen developers, whether your users, the business users, how they are empowered to make that decision, to make it a smooth flow of the processes that is happening now. So embed all your KPIs in the ways of working, so it doesn't feel like you are doing something completely new. And if you try to embed that in the new ways of working, like in the morning, if I want to see where are my close cases, what are the new engagements I'm working on, what are the key customers that I will be targeting to talk to, and where they are in their services, maybe they need to renew their service contract. So all of this information in the dashboard view, I will be able to see if I'm focused on my customers, if I'm focused on my services, if I have some edged collection, edged debt. So I will be able to see, depending on which, obviously, dynamic solution you're using, you will be able to see all this information on your dashboard. So create that, use that as a regular part of ways of working. So here, I would like to bring in Sri again to talk about the roles and responsibilities that you might have come across using Power Platform. What are the key roles and responsibilities the organization need to think about, and how Power Platform will help them? Sri, over to you.
Yeah. Again, thanks, Lipi here. A lot of customers are in different stages of their digital transformation. But if you're starting out now, you need to think through the whole phases of your transformation and understand at what phase, what roles each individual is going to play. But there are these common roles that are kind of perpetual. They will stay right from the beginning all the way till your digital transformation ends. And sorry to say that digital transformation never ends. It's kind of a journey that continues, because there's always something that's left around that we need to do. So the number one people that, at least if you ask me from a technology perspective, are the makers, the people who make the apps. And the beauty about Power Platform here is you have your regular employees who are actually working on the shop floor, or the people who are actually creating these paper forms, are the people who you can transform them to build the next set of applications for themselves. Those people are what we call as the citizen developers, right? They are computer literate, they understand making PowerPoints and Excel like formulas, and they can convert using Power Apps all their processes easily into applications for themselves. Then you have what we call as the professional developers, who play with object-oriented code or something much more fancy using APIs that they can build professional looking applications that are required in this space. So both of these commonly we call as makers, or people who make the app. And of course, there is the end users who need to also be engaged. So there could be a user community evangelist and other people who work closely with these end users, gather early feedback, make sure that the app is coming along well enough. And the number one reason why most digital transformation journeys fail has been purely because it running in a classic waterfall model or taking multi-year journeys which is definitely not the way to do it. You need to do it in small sprints. You need to make sure you're going the right way and keep getting feedback from the end users. Who are you building this for? Why are you doing your digital transformation? You need to continuously evaluate that process. So end users play a big role. End user evangelist or user community evangelist also play a big role there. And then comes the administrative portion of it, which is outside of the executives. There is also somebody who needs to look at what should be the governance policy for your applications, what should be the licensing strategy, how should I look at ensuring that security and privacy and everything is taken care of. So that's the admin persona, I would say. So largely these three personas are roles and responsibilities form the bedrock of the roles that you would have to execute on when you're setting out on this journey.
That's a great point, Sri. And I think we can have another session just to talk about agile and waterfall ways of working. So, why do you think, and this is, I just want to expand a little bit on agile versus waterfall, because sometimes with the organization, with the different types of industry, it often comes across why waterfall and why not agile, or just go waterfall. We are not yet ready for agile. So, what would you say?
It depends on the organization's maturity level, depending on how comfortable they are. Some of the organizations are very risk averse and they operate in a very conservative style, depending on what they're comfortable with. And again, here we are not debating about what works for you, but I'm just sharing. Even if you want to do waterfall, you call it whatever you want. Let's not prescribe tools and frameworks for it. The whole idea is how can you identify the smallest minimum thing that you can do to with utmost quality that you can get it out in front of the users, get feedback, and then go back and reiterate over it. Because most, like, one of the top three challenges that I've always seen with digital transformation is people getting changed, reorganizations, people leaving the organization, and then the whole project goes south. So we don't have that much patience. We cannot afford to have so many years invested in it and all the project running to ground because the cost has overrun or the people have run away, right? So
Absolutely, that's a great
eh,
point, and it's also about if you try to measure things and if you start small rather than get everything down there, and to forget about where we have started because the people go, people do leave, and people the motivation keeps on changing as well. So keep start small, keep innovating, and keep the quick wins comes in, and people get motivated to use the system, use the solution, and that's your digital transformation journey. It's a great
correct.
point. Thank you, Shrey.
Thank you.
So moving on, so this is a roadmap in terms of, in the building a digital future, we have talked about, how you would like to build your roadmap. And when you think about what are the key drivers for change, if that works for your organization, measure the key driving factors that you would like to be there. What is your target comes much later once you have identified what are the key pain points that you would like to address. Then think about how you're going to execute the changes. Sometimes you can have a system integrator to come and do that for you, have a partner who has got the right skills to deliver this for you, or you might be having some consultants, bringing in some consultants and try to do that on your own as well. It's not a right or wrong way, but think about where would you like to be, what is your key strengths, and how would you like to deliver your digital transformation, and drive the innovation as part of your journey. Drive innovation continuously, as Shri has just said. And we talked about, agile ways of working. We just lightly touched upon it, agile ways of working or waterfall ways of working. Whatever works for you, but to try to measure that very quickly so that delivers a benefit for you. And finally, measure the business transformation, because if you leave that quite late, the industry is changing. Nobody knew the pandemic is going to happen. And overnight, people have to think about how to keep the lights on, how to keep the businesses running. With Dynamics 365, I have known in my book, we have come across interviewed number of different organizations. And it's just like some of the retail sector, they have stood the Dynamics 365. They might have already been in the journey. They have stood it up and they kept their lights on. So keep thinking the disruption might happen any point in time. So get ready for the disruption. You can find this book through Amazon, Building a Digital Future. And lastly, from my side, I would like to, and this is a case matrix, so you can find that, so Sarah can share that link. This is about what are the different KPIs that they are measuring. So this is Microsoft Power BI. using Microsoft Power BI, creating metrics that matter. And there are like 8 different steps for a particular case they have used. And as you can see from here, there are different type of metrics, and just helps in terms of understanding where you are in that journey, whether it's a user engagement, whether it's a business transformation, whether it's a cost saving. So everything gets measured, but at the same time, just be able to see all this information at your hand so that you can make that right informed decision. I hand over to Shri now to talk about the Power Platform a little bit in more details about the challenges and how you can help the businesses and organization.
Great. Thanks, Lipi. So this slide is important as well because we've been talking about Dynamics, we've been talking about Power Platform. How does it all come together? It's important to understand, right? And I will also cover quickly how some of the challenges that Lipi was calling out gets addressed by leveraging some of the power of Power Platform as well as Dynamics. So just to make sure everyone understands, Power Platform sits as the bedrock on which you build applications. Either you build a custom applications or you leverage Dynamics 365. And then Dynamics 365 applications that we looked at a little while ago can also be further extended to build your own custom apps on top of it. Now, what's the benefit? The number one benefit is leverage existing employees, as I was already calling out. The people who need their processes to be digitized are the ones who are actually building the applications here. There is not much training involved. As I said, if you are computer literate, you just understand the basics of how PowerPoint works, how the Excel formulas work. You can easily catch up on the skills that are required for building applications, automating your processes, or building chatbots and Power BI, as you can see on all the 4 wings of the flywheel that's shown up here. Lower total cost of transformation purely because you're not involving a lot of professional developers, or you're not investing in an outsourced partner that may not be needed for some of the smaller wins that you want to achieve. The total cost of transformation also comes down there. Speed of transformation is another aspect we were talking about. How can we make sure we're able to build uh, things much quicker and iterate over those things much faster? And even though these are small baby steps, that you will be seeing that at least that you're going in the right direction, and chances of failure are drastically reduced, and thereby increasing the overall transformation as well, which definitely your leaders want to see how fast you're moving and how are you moving in the right direction or not. Extensible platform is also one of the aspects of Power Platform that I wanted to highlight. Like outside of the Dynamics 365 applications that you get out of box, you can further extend them. So as your business requirements are changing, your branding needs are changing, you can go and customize it and tailor it, and it is built on Azure, so you can extend with Azure to meet whatever the gaps are there in the out of box product that you might acquire at the first instance. And then this specific session talking about how do you measure digital transformation, how do you measure the success. You get a lot of out of box analytics for measuring adoption. How do you do that is Lipi, if you can go to the next slide, we can see that as soon as an app is built in a Power Apps, you will have some of those analytics that you need to know. How many app launches have happened, which means how many users have used my app. This is just a representation of a sample app that I had on my trial instance here. Look at the number of app launches by different days. Look at daily active usage. Obviously, you need to know how many people are using my apps. And then how many sessions have happened on different devices. So all of this is available out of box for you when you're leveraging Power Platform for your digital transformation needs. And definitely, it helps to understand first what to measure, and then also helps you understanding like what those numbers are looking like. So both those problems are kind of readily addressed out of box for you by leveraging the platform here. That's all I had from my side.
Thank you, Shri. So, in terms of, I think we are nearly time, and it's good to see if you have any comments, if you have any questions for us. Happy to answer them. I know it might be quite late if you're in Australia, and depending on if you're in US, it might be quite late as well. So, and it's very early in the morning out in UK. but happy to take any questions that you may have for us. Sarah, is there any other questions coming up? I don't think that I can see any.
Thanks, Lipi. Thanks, Shrik. We haven't had any questions come through just this minute, but we'll give everyone just one more minute to see if they want to ask anything. Just even let us know where they are from in the world at the moment and what they're doing, and if they wanted to let us know anything about their journey as well. We'll give everyone a minute there. In the meantime, I'm just going to put a couple more links in the the comment section there. So I've just put Lipi's book as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and get a link to, I believe, one of Shrik's books as well. I'm just going to pop out of the chat quickly if you two just want to have a minute just to wrap up anything from your side. I'll just be right back and I'll just pop those in the questions.
Thank you, Sarah. It was a great pleasure to talk to you, Shri. I think it was, we were talking about Power Platform, we were talking about Dynamics 365. And it's just like so much out there and which can help you in your digital transformation journey. And I feel sometimes we get, the ways of working, thinking about that. It's a lot to think about, from the organization point of view, a lot to think about from which journey you would like to start. And it's kind of a continuous journey to build in. What do you think, Shri?
Yeah, definitely. It's a never-ending journey. Like, when do you want to stop improving? That's pretty much the question that you're asking. As organization changes, as organization evolves, the business goals are changing, the market is changing, the customers are changing. So why should the digital transformation stop at any point? And then, of course, the technology barriers are changing. Who would have thought that you would have like a HoloLens, which would kind of show you the guide for somebody who's working on a shop floor, or somebody, as you must have already seen, repairing the space stations. You cannot afford to hold your guides and the millions and millions of data points that you need to get at that point when you're repairing one of the broken arms of a space station. So those are the kind of technology barriers that are getting broken. And anyone who says that I'm done with my digital transformation of my org, that's really somebody who doesn't understand what is digital transformation.
Absolutely. That's a great idea. You have to start thinking about my innovative ideas about having a HoloLens and thinking about having exploration of Mars with Elon Musk's help. That will be great.
Sure.
So thank you, Shri. And I think we have one comment from Ananda. So thank you for sharing. So thanks to watch us, really. Great pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Shrik. Thanks, Lipi. I just want to say thank you for presenting and thank you to everybody for tuning in. You must have answered all questions throughout your presentation, but if anyone has any other questions, they will be able to, I believe, reach you via LinkedIn as well. I've got the links here to both Shrik's book and also Lipi's book, which we've just put in the comments section there. And we've also got our link to our feedback survey. So any feedback you have, please do fill that out with the event code 15375. And also just a reminder that today's session has been recorded and will be available on demand on the Reactor YouTube channel straight after today. So if there's anything you'd like to reference back, you can do so straight after today via that link. And I think we'll wrap it up there. So thank you both again. And thank you to everyone. Have a good rest of your afternoon, evening or morning. And we'll see you next time for another Microsoft Reactor live stream event.
Thank you. Bye now.